Okay, quick mid-session update. Hardest run of the block, hardest workout. This is savage. So welcome back to another week, another video. 15 weeks to go until London, 14 weeks when you see this. And yeah, it's been an interesting week this week. I picked up a back niggle shortly after my long run last week, and it's kind of shifted the focus of this week slightly. I'm doing a warm-up, I'm heading up to the Green Gate. I'm going to explain it all to you when I get up there. There we go. Just over 15 minutes done for the warm-up, so let's roll through the week. What happened? I'll give you more detail at the end. It's really cold today, so I'm struggling to talk a bit. The GoPro's going to die. I bought a backup camera just in case for the session. So yeah, back spasm. Saturday after the long run. I'm a bugger for bending and lifting things through my mid back, so rather than hinge and pick up stuff at the hips, I tend to bend in the middle of my back in the thoracic area. And as much strength and conditioning and core work as I do, I just cannot seem to get into my brain that I need to hinge at the hips. It's so basic, but it just puts too much load on my back. I tweaked it lifting a ladder around the side of the house to get the Christmas lights down off the gutter. Didn't think anything of it, went to pick something up a couple of hours later, and boom, I was on the floor in agony. So that was a bit frustrating, but I've been there before. I knew what to do, and thanks to the strength and conditioning and core work, I can overcome these things a lot quicker. And one thing that I've learned over time is not to kind of stress the area that's affected too much, but try and loosen up all the muscles that's around the outside of that. So because it's my lower back that locked up, I basically on that day worked on loosening up the glutes, loosening up the hamstrings because they were all tight, loosening up the upper back as well, but completely leaving alone the lower back, and that works a treat. Once I'd done that, I did a very, very, very light bit of core that day, later that evening, just to make sure everything was activated again, and I just repeated that on Sunday. Took Monday off as a precaution and then rolled back into things on Tuesday. And so it just meant I took the week easy. So I basically did a 30-minute run on the Tuesday morning, and I still doubled that day. I did a 40-minute easy run that evening, so 30 and 40, nice and calm, nice and relaxed. Heart rates were in the 120s. Wednesday I did a moderate run, I think it was 45 minutes or 40 minutes, so just tested it out, starting to feel a lot better at that point. Thursday I did an easy run, which is yesterday, and now Friday today we have the session. So technically I've not actually missed any of my days. My normal midweek rest day I just took as Monday as a precaution, and I've just gently built up the week, which means the mileage this week isn't fantastic and there's only going to be one session, but we're going to make the most of it. And so I then now walk down towards the Green Gate in the on Cloud Flow 3s. On Cloud Boom Echo 3s, I should say. I'll let Will explain what we have this week. I'll get him to tell you about the session, and I'll explain how I've tweaked it slightly.
Right then, Mr. Rayner, as the temperature plummets, I'm filming this from my bed because it is the warmest place in my flat, which, looking at the thermometer, is currently 14 degrees. But anyway, enough about that, into another week. And you have started off a great week by messaging me saying you have tweaked your back. So this is your adapted week to make sure we're going to be okay, because the main thing is keeping you consistent and being sensible. So where we normally do a session on the Tuesday and then do a session on the Friday, what we're going to do is we're going to sack off the Tuesday session. We're going to play it by ear day by day. So it could mean where you're normally running on the Monday, might decide it's better to leave the Monday, then have a slightly easier run on the Tuesday. Just a little test to see if it flares up for Wednesday. Try something a little bit harder. Then hopefully by the Friday we can get a bit of a session down you. If we do get there, the session I want you to do is going to be sets of 400 meter effort, 400 meter float, 300 meter effort, 300 meter float, 200 meter effort, 200 meter float, 100 meters, followed by, you guessed it, 100 meter float, then straight back into the beginning of the set. So that's 400, 300, 200, 100. So with the efforts, the 400, they're not going to be completely rapid, but they're going to be solid. So that's going to be like a 10k effort, or kind of like half an hour-ish ballpark effort. So then as we go down the distances, I want those to get progressively faster. Floats are hard floats though, so that hard float is going to be around a tempo effort, so we're not really shutting off. We're kind of like going above lactate into the, and then back into the lactate zone, above lactate, back into the lactate zone, above lactate, back into the lactate zone. We've prescribed you 5 sets, but we'll see by Friday. It could be we do 3 sets, could we do 4, could we do 5. We'll play it by ear. But main thing is, let's get that back sorted, and then let's roll on to a solid following week, because there's still plenty of time for stuff to change and to get you in disgusting London shape.
So when I say tweaked it slightly, I'm not going to be doing anything major to it, but it sounds a tough one, doesn't it? 400, 300, 200, 100, all off equal hard floats, tempo floats. So there's no light jog recoveries here. So what you will not see today is 400 meter reps that are really, really fast. We're going to be doing, obviously we're going to be pushing hard, but there are going to be floats in between these. There's going to be no let up. I'm really actually quite apprehensive about this. So what I'm doing is, the tweak that I've made is I'm actually taking it to the trails. I wouldn't normally do it here. This would be my normal tarmac workout of the week. Thing is, the industrial estate, which is where I do my workouts, is absolutely teeming with traffic at the moment, because there is some roadworks in the high street and they're diverting everything through the industrial estate. So it is so busy, you just can't get on and off the road, and the pavements aren't great along there. I like to do a little bit on the road and have the ability to jump onto the pavement if it gets too busy. Sadly, that ability is not there at the moment. It's just way too busy. So I'm going to have to adapt this slightly and take it to the trails. It's probably not a bad thing, because my first workout back, it will be a bit softer through the joints and through the back, but overall it's still going to be a tough workout. So the only thing that's different here is there's going to be a couple of undulations in there. There's going to be a couple of hills that we hit along the way, so some of the paces on some of the reps might be a little bit slower than anticipated, but I really don't care. It's just the adaptation we have to make this week, and we're just going to roll with it. So I'm going to get up to the green gate and we're going to get straight into this. Let's see how we do. Come on, let's go. Okay, quick midsection update. Hardest run of the block, hardest workout. This is savage. Just under 400 meter of the third set. Oh. Wow, done. That was so hard. So, touch wood, the back held out, felt good, but that was by far the hardest workout of the block so far. Short, sharp, nasty. The worst bit, 100 meters, 100 meter rest, going into a 400 meter rep. That was absolutely savage. But I think basically what happened was I pushed it a bit too fast. I averaged 4 high 4s for a lot of those reps when I should have probably gone low 5s. Then I could have floated a bit better. The floats fell off the wagon. There we go, camera died, that's why I bought this one. So I wasn't tiptoe jogging by any stretch of the imagination. I was trying to push the recoveries, but I couldn't quite get to the paces that I probably was prescribed. I think probably low 5s would have been sensible for those reps, and then I could have floated every single time in the 6s. Just I pushed, and the thing is, when you get 1.5, 2 sets in, you're kind of committed at that point. You get used to the feeling and you just keep pushing, and that's what I did. So I worked on the trails here, very gentle, uphill this way, up over a bigger hill, had some flat stuff to go back and forth on, and then came back down this way to finish, span, and did the 100 meters, last one, back up here. So overall, really happy with that one. So there we go, back at the office now, sat down and analysed everything and feel really good overall for the session. I think there were some fast splits in there and some slow splits in there, but what you've got to bear in mind, I was out there on the trails, and I've got to be aware that GPS can be slightly dicey. Now is the perfect time of year to be running out there because there's no tree coverage, all the trees are bare, which is great. In the summer, it's a nightmare. GPS dances around. And I do take that into consideration when I'm out there. It's a lot more accurate when I'm out on the roads. But overall, I think if I take a general overview of what those splits were, the 400s are really fast bar the last one. And I know that last one wasn't that much slower than the others. There were some really good splits in there. And overall, I felt really good. The back was the main issue. And we're going to talk about that now. I want to give you a bit more detail as to what happened and explain a bit more, because it's really important for me and for you guys to understand why these things happen. And just very quickly before I do that, I want to thank 4 companies, 3 long-term and 1 new partner of the channel, none of which are sponsoring this week's video, so take that with a pinch of salt. They're just companies that I work with. I have affiliate links for down in the description below. That just means if you use my link and you buy a product from them, I get a little kickback. That's it, doesn't cost you any extra. X Miles, your one-stop nutrition shop. I use them all the time. FOD10 gets you a 10% discount code. They're there for all your nutrition needs. Treadmill specialists, absolutely fantastic. I have one. I go on Zwift occasionally when I'm on there, but otherwise I'll sit there. I'll run and watch YouTube whilst I'm on there on the screen. And they have indeed just released their new model, which has a much bigger screen. Very exciting. Hopefully I can share more of that later in the year, but that's now released as well. Again, a discount code in the description for that. Pure Sport, no discount as such, but an affiliate link. So if you do use Pure Sport stuff like I do, in particular the freeze roll and muscle balm, there's a link down there. If you use that link, again, I get a small cutback on that. And finally, a new partner, Body Light. I've been using their kit now since the end of October, beginning of November. It's all about high visibility and being able to be seen throughout the dark mornings and evenings, winter mainly. And I know we're out the other side of it, but they sent me some stuff. I've been using it now for 2 or 3 months. It's been wonderful. I'm using it, keeping myself nice and visible. And again, there's a 10% discount down there if you want to use it. So I mentioned it at the time, it's all about, for me, with my back issues, hinging at the hips and not in the mid-back area. So I have a really bad habit of just bending over and flexing from this point in my back rather than flexing at the hip, and just bending over that way. I kind of curl over like that, and it just puts a massive overload in that thoracic area. And for me, that's what I was doing, lifting that ladder around the side of the house. I felt it go, but then I didn't think anything of it. And just a couple of hours later, just bending down to pick up some shoes or something, my back just went, and it was agony. Now, what the strength and conditioning and core work has done, plus lots of physio appointments when I've done back issues in the past, is allow me to understand not to do too much to the inflamed area in terms of stretching and stuff like that. And it's my lower back, just literally above my glutes. And what happens for me in particular is my glutes lock up massively. So I know it's all about kind of trying to unlock those areas that have been affected around the actual area where the injury is. And then when they've unlocked, naturally you then just have to kind of almost step back, do some sensible exercises and recovery stuff to that area, but nothing intense. But the areas around it are okay. So like I did the core workout, very light core, just 3 exercises, 3 reps of 10, very light stuff, nothing more, nothing less. And it just over the week healed up to the point where on Friday I was able to do a workout. Now in a previous life, that would have kept me on the sofa for 3 or 4 days, and then I would have just been trying to have walked around running would have been out of the question. So I'm grateful that my strength and conditioning and my knowledge of having this a fair few times has allowed me to get to the point where I can continue training sensibly, and I'm just grateful that I was able to get out there for a workout. So fingers crossed that's all done and dusted. It won't be the last time it happens. So yeah, just got to keep on with the strength and conditioning and try and get into my brain that I need to hinge at the hip rather than the mid back. So there we go, that's it for this week, guys. Next weekend I've got a race, Lisri 8, very excited for that, so I'll share some training leading up to that, and then of course next weekend, or I should say on the Monday or Tuesday, there'll be a race vlog of that. Very excited, I think around 44:10 there last year. So if I'm feeling good and I have a good week of training next week and the weather's all okay, because it can be quite windy down there, if the stars align, I will definitely go out there and see what I can do. Love to try and beat that time, so we'll see. Otherwise, appreciate you guys sticking around to the end of the video. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then.